We are here with Jeff, who is one of the main men over at Trinware, and he's in charge of all their marketing. And I've developed a new marketing strategy for smaller businesses. And Trinware is a large business, and Jeff is in charge of a lot of, large accounts, but he also has small accounts. And so, since he was my vice president at Action Computers for so many years, and he is really the one that helped me focus on the marketing effort over there, I'm going to talk to Jeff a little bit about a new marketing strategy that I've come up with. And let me tell you how much I know about Jeff and how long I've known him. He's not paying attention right now.
Sure am.
You're
taking notes. I'm taking notes, sir.
Do not take notes. You know better than that. That's why we're recording.
Got to make sure I know it.
No, please don't take notes. I just want to talk about it. I want you to listen to what I'm doing, and I want you to give me an evaluation.
Done.
As I go along with building the program. And so we're going to release this to charities and small businesses and different things like that. But there's a couple of other things I want to talk to you about that are not related that we were talking about in the green room. So remind me about that sound recording device. But how the social media works right now is if you put a message out into social media, unless you pay, you're not going to get very much exposure. So what I've developed is a way to build up internet traffic, because that's what the algorithm understands. It's traffic. So if we get a bunch of people that are hitting and handling things, then we can slip in our related marketing content into that group. So what we're doing is we're building an entertainment channel, so much like a cable channel or a television channel or a radio show, and we're providing that group a bunch of activity, and it's turned out to be a very huge undertaking. The group I will if I could give us a little background. I'm going to share a screen real quick. The group that I created for one of our other podcasts with John Faust. Dude, what are you doing?
Nothing.
You are.
No. Muted myself. That's it.
You are definitely checking your email.
I'm definitely not. You are wrong, sir.
Okay. So here is the Baby Boomer Old Souls group. That is a audience participation page for the Old Souls Sage Advice podcast with John Faust. And if you'll look, this thing has 200,000 members.
That's awesome.
I started this thing like a month and a half ago.
Wow.
But then when we do our show, we drop it into this group from the page, and we're doing the live podcast for that show to YouTube, to LinkedIn, to Insta, and we do it through the Facebook Old Souls page. And then we download that content and then reshare it over the group or over the affiliated websites or whatever it is. But we are building that audience So now if we have some senior citizen centers or whatever things that older folks might be interested in, we can provide that throughput and that relevancy to those businesses. And Jeff, it's a lot like when we did the eBay auctions in the past, and we connected our computer store website to the eBay auctions we were doing, and we ended up ranking #1 like crazy.
Right. Yeah. There was a lot of traction on their busy highway. So that came back to our, side street and brought all that traffic over there, so to speak.
Right.
Yep.
So it was a guerrilla marketing tactic that allowed for a bunch of traffic because of our web elements were on those eBay ads, and they were pinging the server back. So our website was getting a lot of traffic. And so then it was really kind of artificial traffic. But then as it ranked up, then it was organic traffic for people that really wanted to do the same thing. And I don't know. Let me check. I'm going to check. Because Jeff, when you and I were running that company, we they changed this a little bit. We were ranking #1 for used computers for 20 years, right?
Right.
I am going to try. I'm going to try and do a search for used computers on my computer here.
Yeah.
Used computers. So here is used computers. And they're not there anymore.
Yeah.
That's sad, huh?
And that's national results, huh?
Right.
Yeah.
Here's Action or Amazon. Man, we dominated that, didn't we?
Yeah.
Back in the day?
Yeah. Yeah. National hit.
Oh, that's sad. Well, anyway, we will investigate that a little further. But that's the type of thing that we want to do, is to make sure and give these companies a blueprint. So when they start off on this program that I'm doing, I think the problem is you're not looking at your camera. That's the problem. Now your eye contact.
Yeah.
There. Are you looking at a different screen?
No, I just can't. I can't see you over here and look up here. I can thumbnail you. Here, watch this. Yeah, see, it's even.
Well, and it's my ADD, and Jeff knows that very well.
You got a little bit. All right, you are now right underneath my webcam instead of on the other side.
And I feel like I'm talking to you. I just
yeah, it's a big screen.
It just bugs me because, like, when I'm talking to somebody and they're doing this, and it just doesn't feel like they're paying attention to what I'm doing.
Yeah,
because most people are not.
Yeah,
and that's why the work from home thing died.
Yeah,
because people are doing their Zoom calls and stuff, but they're not really paying attention. They're playing Fortnite on one of their screens, and they're in an office meeting on another screen, and they're getting paid, and people wonder why it doesn't work.
I always put that disclaimer in when I'm talking to applicants, because I do have two screens, and usually they'll be on my middle one with the camera, but then I have their resume over on the side. So I'll often be over here and I'll be typing. So I'll tell them, hey, if you see me looking over here and typing notes about you and our conversation, I try to set that up front so that they know what I'm doing and don't assume I'm not listening.
You go to the doctor and they're typing. I mean, I understand that, but I'm from the old school of where we need to really kind of keep the conversation rich enough to where we connect.
Yeah.
And then we take notes about everything later.
Sure.
If we're not connecting on a real basis, we're not getting anything done.
I get it.
But so the small businesses, what they need to do is we need to have a group.
Yep.
Preferably one that we own, but it doesn't have to be that.
Sure.
Okay? I'm just going to go with one that we own just to start the building blocks.
Sure.
So we've got Old Souls Sage Advice, 1964 through 1965, as a core group that people are having fun, sharing their pictures of their long hair and their Camaro and all that other stuff. Yeah. And we have 200,000 eyes and ears. So what we need to do after that is we need to pair that with a podcast like this one.
Sure.
And we make 3-minute messages. We make 30-minute messages. We can include some of the members, that kind of thing. But we're making actual, real content from people that are actually selling things to and buying things from customers.
Sure.
So it provides a little network. And the thing that happens is that if we own the audience, then we can advertise to them within our little group. The problem is on Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn, YouTube, some of that kind of, you have to pay to get the outreach to the audience. And what happens a lot of times for small businesses is they don't have the money to pay for those eyeballs.
Well, you have a lot of competition. You're going up against a national company with a $1 million marketing budget, and you have $100.
And Jeff, I would be happy to do that.
Yeah.
But it's not fair.
Yeah.
They don't show our message to but 5% of the people in the marketplace, even if we're buying it. So it's not just you and I making our content better than the big guys.
Right.
They don't even show us to the audience.
Mm-hmm.
So we're not competing. It's just like you get this and that's it.
Yeah.
And so we have to find a way to make our content infinitely reshareable to the same audience. So as we build this kind of content up, then we share it backwards to an audience that already knows us.
And that hit rate's probably, I mean, I don't know if you can call it 100%, but I mean, of active people who cruise through that group, you have to have a pretty good metric on hitting your audience when you post something like that, right?
Well, and it encourages the referral.
I mean, obviously you got active users in that group and you'll have inactive people, but I mean, the servability of that post should be pretty good.
The thing about, can you hear my computer?
No, we turned my volume up, but not where I'm at right now.
The fans go off.
I can't hear a thing.
The thing that happens with referrals is if I had some tree company do my branches and I refer it to my neighbor, the person that I'm referring to does business in that neighborhood.
Right.
So if we're not on a referral basis, our advertising reaches out to, say, Arvada or Edmond in Oklahoma, for instance, and we're in Norman or we're in Parker or whatever. It's great to get jobs, but if they're this side of the city and this side of the city, it's not as good. But if we're working in a particular neighborhood, say Stonegate and Parker, then when we're getting our referrals and that they're in our service area automatically. And Jeff, you and I know from running the computer store for 20 years that a good solid business is getting 80% repeat customers and customer referrals and 20% new business.
Yep.
And as long as we're keeping our current customers and they're referring, then we're going to have a great business, even if we don't spend any money on marketing.
Of course.
But if we spend a little bit of money on marketing, then we can get some newbies.
Right.
But this whole program is about making it easier for I'm doing a show. Do you need me right now? We make it easier for our customers to refer us.
Yeah.
And that content through the podcast that we do here and the mini commercials that we do here. And the businesses are taking 5-second and 30-second videos that we introduce as messages with overlays.
Sure.
And so if we and I'm testing this with a couple of people that I mentor and that I work with. The Motorcycle Riding Center in New Jersey is a charity that I work with. And I'll show you how I build this through that avenue. But if you were to be instituting some of this stuff from Trinware, then we can have that marketing message that goes into that channel. Right. And then especially if it's previous customers, like for instance, have you updated your antivirus software? Have you done Yak Yak? And
sure.
If you're a HVAC company, we have the guys in the field take a short video of before and after of cleaning out the condenser.
Right. Yeah.
Because it gets gunked up.
Right.
A lot of people don't realize, hey, have us come out come out and check your air conditioner.
Yeah.
And because here's what it is. And visually you see, oh, if my air conditioner looks like that, I need to have somebody blow it out or whatever.
Doesn't look good. Yeah. And
so
we know that's expensive.
And it's content advertising.
Right.
And so we I'm looking for the metrics on this group. I'm not finding it.
Growth and all that.
Yeah, the
Facebook is nice to hide those things modern day. It's 4 clicks in some random page. You probably have to be a different person to act. I mean, it's just ridiculous.
Okay, here we go. Let me share a screen here. Okay, so here's the growth rate. $216,000 posts and comments, 1,719,000 views. That's from a timeline of July 13th.
Nice.
To August 9th.
Wow. That's a lot. And this group you started and you own.
Yes.
Wow. Very
And
cool.
I've just got a couple of mods that are really great people.
Yeah.
And this is the engagement numbers.
A little bit more on the weekend.
Well, the
Reminiscing on the weekend a little bit more and at night.
bro, I mean, it's
Makes
crazy.
sense.
It's crazy. But what happens is these people are doing their own thing.
Yeah.
And I get a lot of comments about, hey, is this a dating site or blah, blah, blah. And the moderation thing is very aggressive. We don't allow politics or
Of course.
religion or anything like that. And we ban a lot of people. We ban a lot of spammers. We make a safe place for these people to
That's good.
hang out.
Yeah.
Only positive, no toxicity. And you know how I feel about that.
Oh, yeah.
I will not tolerate it.
For sure.
But the point is, instead of trying to make content that says, hey, come take the motorcycle class.
Right.
We're doing the motorcycle. So we do the content outside of the business. And then we have our business advertised to the audience that we built up.
Sure.
And we don't let other competitors do that.
Right.
Because it's our audience.
When you, like this group that you've made, even though they're not the ideal, maybe not the ideal customer, but maybe they could be. Do you want to advertise like your motorcycle group? Would you want to advertise that to a group that doesn't necessarily have an interest in motorcycles specifically? Does that concept still work? Or do you need to have a group that is focused on motorcycles and then you kind of inject your motorcycle company into that?
I'm trying to find
because the boomer group, I mean, of course, there may be some people who ride in that group, but it may not be everybody.
Well, let's answer the motorcycle question.
Yeah.
I'll show you what I'm doing. And what I did was I started Motorcycle Riding Centers Inc. has their own page, but I created this page, Motorcycle Riding Centers. Okay. And that group is just for people to put their own motorcycle riding content and share it as a repository of people that like things that are motorcycling related.
Sure.
Okay? And then people are interested and they can share and they do their own stuff that they're doing. Okay.
Yep.
And then I take a post from Motorcycle Riding Centers Inc. This is a post of their last class and their students that passed the class.
Right.
That gets advertised back into this motorcycling thing.
Yeah.
And what I haven't done yet, because I don't have all the energy in the world that I want to have, but I will have richer posts that'll have keywords and tags and links back to the registration for the motorcycle site.
Right.
And this may be one of the things that I want you to help me with to get your feet wet on how to build the program for Trinware. But I want to have a post like this that in the comments we have a link back to sign up for the website, do all this other stuff. And then as people see it on the group, then they can share it back.
Yep.
To their friends and neighbors. And, oh, I just came across this in my motorcycling group. Why don't you take a lesson? And then
Makes
we
sense.
can make an ad that says, hey, 3 riders for the price of 2, buy 2 lessons, and the third one's free. So you guys can split it 3 ways, whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
And, just create that organic advertising thing that's going on.
Nice.
And then we want to make sure that, the business that's doing this is, allowing that group share content everywhere.
Yeah.
So we do Reels and we do Instagram, we do all the other stuff, but having that content available in that one repository, and then we share it back into the group and have an active thing that's going on, like and a special message every Friday.
Yeah.
And
I
then-
jumped into a Mustang group for
I like it.
And I think there's some similar alignments here with what you're talking about. I just didn't realize it. Obviously, as a marketer, but not really connecting it because it's my personal deal. But same thing's happening over there. I mean, that group has a couple 100,000 people in it.
Absolutely.
When I post a picture, I mean, it's 2 weeks before they approve it because they're so busy. So if we drop something in the middle of that was useful for that group.
Well, and the other thing, owning your own group and having the traffic that like I have on that baby boomer group, that's that's great. However, most of the time the messages are not going to be to that wide of an audience, but I specialize in, when I'm doing my real estate, as you know, we have a house that we own together in a limited liability company in Drumright, Oklahoma.
Yep.
Well, I use the Facebook groups to our advantage in that business, because there may be 2,000 people or 7,000 people that belong to the Drumright news group or Drumright community or buy, sell, trade Drumright, Oklahoma. And if you can join those communities and participate in them, then when you have a business message like, hey, I got a 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom house for rent, and you advertise it in those surrounding companies that you've already participated in.
Yeah.
That's very powerful. And a lot of people don't realize when, if they have a landscaping company that's down in that small town, you have to get involved in the community groups to be part of that, and then advertise to the groups and not directly to Facebook necessarily.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Something else interesting that I've realized with my marketing hat on is Facebook is almost kind of scraping for content these days. Because at least, a good amount of the people that I'm connected with are not actively engaging on Facebook. So, when I pop on 3 or 4 times a day just to kind of surf, my friends are not posting. Therefore, it doesn't have content. So it has to dig more to find that content to serve me. And I've noticed a lot more recently that, I could scroll for 5 minutes through Facebook and maybe see 1 or 2 people's posts, but it's mostly groups and other pages, so, I think they're getting more servability with some of these pages and groups than they might have had in the past.
I agree with that.
Because there's more,
here's another arm that, the micro video has to do with. But if you'll notice, I have this TikTok video.
Yeah.
And I was talking about the used car market. Look at that. 998,000 views.
That's awesome.
For an old man.
That's great. So you're going to take you over.
I'm
It's
going
gonna
to hit
take you over 1 million.
on that. Huh?
It's gonna take you over 1 million.
I know. But if you look at the rest of my content is wealth building content and finances and life advice and different things like that. And I get a 1,000, 1,200, 2,500, because I'm not a big, viral thing, except for that one video. Yeah. But the audience that I talk to is relevant, right. And if you're in a business where you're selling an office 10 computers or 150 computers, and your audience is 800 people or 400 people in the Denver area, right? Or in that group of individuals that buys desktop computers and does networks or something like that. If you hit one that buys 150 computers, it was worthwhile, Yeah. And when you're talking to your audience, if you talk to 15 of them that are moved to action to come to your business and eat at your restaurant, that's powerful. And just because, the sorority sisters that are dancing the TikTok trends group, whatever, and they're viral, every video they do is 900,000 views or whatever. That's okay, but it's not selling anything. And if you look at some of your more viral people on TikTok, they're getting views, but they're not selling anything. Yeah. And it's the ones that are getting less views that are actually selling things in their business, and they take their TikTok popularity and convert it into sales for their business. And those people are making the most money. Yeah. And the people that are viral on TikTok, the creator fund, if you have videos that are reaching high views, you don't get that much money for that. What they're doing right now is they are paying for live views over time. Yeah. So a lot of these creators are you see them on live for 6 or 7 hours a day because they make money. They get some cash for staying on live. Right. I don't know that it beats 7-Eleven wages. I don't know. Right. But that is a lot of time. You see them sitting on there and blah, blah, blah. And, yeah. And TikTok is getting something from that because they have eyeballs that are sticking on the view lives. And that shows a metric of viewership, just like YouTube. So they want people watching the live videos so they can convert advertising to them. Yep. But it's not a great use of your time, I don't think. I think if you and I decided to go live on TikTok and have an hour show, we could experiment with that kind of thing with some users or whatever. Sure. But it's a tricky landscape, and that's what we're here for, is to sit down with those businesses and say, where should you spend your dollars? Where should you have your emphasis? Yeah. And I help a relative of mine that has a wood carving business, like the CNC makes the signs and all that stuff. Right. He's a very super talented guy. Custom wood designs, Stefan. And he's an engineer and does these signs and has them all automated and stuff like that. He has an Etsy shop and all this other stuff. But he had a YouTube channel and it was very popular. But it turned out that the only people that were viewing that were other people that were doing CNC work. They wanted to know how he was doing it, what he was doing. Oh, no. And it wasn't people that were buying, it was his competitors. Oh, boy. So we need to do an analysis of what are we doing, sure, with our video, and just to kind of say, I put out educational content. This content that you and I are doing right now in this live will get reshared to other people, hopefully that learn something from it. And my message is repeated over and over and over again as a learning tool. Sure. And help for other small businesses, that's my gig. I don't care if I go viral.
Right.
Viral for me is somebody calls Jeff and says, hey, I've got the snow shoveling business and I need some more help. What should I do with my social media?
Right.
And Jeff says, hey, let me send you this video that I made with a buddy of mine about social media. Start there. And then take a look at that series of things or whatever. And to us, if we go viral to 20 businesses in Denver that wouldn't have made it otherwise, to us, that's viral. That's perfect.
It's huge
For me.
Yeah.
Now you're a little different because I'm retired and I'm just interested in giving away half of my time to, worthy charities and people and that kind of thing.
Right.
You're still out there hustling and bustling and making your money. I mean, you're in a different game than me.
Yeah.
You don't give away half of your time because you have to, do a bunch of things that earn money for your family. So your interest in going viral is a little bit different. You
Right.
want to make sure that you build up that organic traffic for Trinware. And I think one of the things that we can do is start some groups that have to do with reasons that they would need to have a boutique, personalized computer company.
Sure.
Like
Yeah.
gaming rigs or rigs to do podcasts or whatever. And then maybe we do a group that talks about, here's what you need to do to set up this podcasting.
Yeah.
And we do a group that says, Podcasters United or whatever. And then when we get a lot of people that are learning about how to do these podcasts like you and I are doing, and I have them call me all the time. They want to do this. They want to learn how to do this. We do a group that's based on that. And then Trinware can be the supporting company that every month we offer a special podcasting computer.
Right.
And sell it back into the group. You want to get started? Here's the microphone. Here's the speakers. And here's the beginner thing. Here's the, you can do it on your phone and then you graduate to a laptop. This is the one we choose. Here's the, whatever microphone and speakers or whatever, the little ring light things that happen. And we're creating the audience for podcasting.
Yep.
But we're selling them a computer.
Right. Yep.
And one of the things that we have to realize as marketers is what our age demographic in the different medias. I used to have a graphic that showed everything, and I have to find another one. But the old folks are on Facebook. Facebook is for the old people.
Yep.
The nice thing about that is if you're selling a product that appeals to them, that's where all the money is.
They'll convert. Yep.
But they have money. I mean, they have money. Yep. Instagram is your, kind of young hipster 25 to 35 area.
Sure.
And they're on their phones primarily.
Yep.
So you got young people that are out and about on their phones, yada, yada. And so we want to make sure our content fits that. So the old people that are on computers or need old people stuff are on Facebook. Obviously, some of the really, really younger people on Snapchat. One of the areas, and I talked about this, and luckily I did videos about it, but I talked about TikTok 2 years ago when I learned it myself, and I didn't allow any of my studio people to help me. I didn't allow any of my experts to help me. I learned how to do TikTok videos 2 years ago by myself. And now that is essential for businesses to be involved in the micro media space.
Wow.
And you've got to move where the eyeballs are.
Yeah. You do.
And
it's true.
If your company is not doing, TikTok advertising, then you're falling behind.
Yeah, moving where the eyeballs is a great statement. Ears used to be and still is in some, some ways. But I remember you remember Tom Shane, right?
Absolutely.
He was on a radio show and on over the air, and he said he would never advertise on streaming media ever. He would only advertise on, what was in Clear Channel, and that was it. And one day I was listening on Spotify, and guess who popped up?
Well, you have to. You have
changed
to.
his mind.
Well, honestly, I was a big radio guy.
Yeah,
since
we were
1987, I started listening to talk radio.
Right.
All the way up to 2015, something like that.
Yeah. No, you and I did what? Lots of ads.
Well, lots of ads on radio, lots of shows on radio. We had our overnight show on KOA. I listened because I felt like they were keeping me company in the car. Right. So I listened to the radio shows and called in and that kind of thing. But that has almost died, because the radio stations didn't keep up with the times, and people just went to podcasts, and they listened to podcasts. They listened to video casts and all the different stuff that's streaming, and they save it on their phones.
It's crazy. I mean, you got 10 different platforms to stream music now, and most people are paying some amount to do that. I mean, it's it definitely has. I had an issue with my phone a couple of weeks ago, and I had to pop onto FM, and it's sad. I mean, not only the advertisers that are on there now. I mean, you could tell they're low quality, establishments.
And nobody's doing that. I mean, I can't tell you the last time in the last 5 years that I turned on my radio. I don't do it. I absolutely don't do it.
Changing world. But you're right. I mean, only getting off on a sidetrack to say that, you are correct. I mean, you have to be mobile, flexible. You have to go where people are. It's critical in marketing.
Well, and when you and I ran the computer store together, we would do a computer setup that started from $150 and then jumped up in $50 jumps on each level. Yeah. And then whenever you sold one, we build two.
Right.
And whenever you sold those two, you build four, because we let the customer determine what they wanted to buy, not us. And, that's essential part of business. Doesn't matter what we think. It matters what the customer thinks. And, when we're doing our marketing, whatever is getting the phone to ring, that is really what we're interested in, not what we think. Like Tom Shane said, "Oh, I'm not interested in the streaming media." Well, too bad. You missed a base.
Mold.
If I was working for him, I would say, let's try 10% of our budget and our time on each thing. So 10 different things. And you'll remember this from the old days. We used to have a phone, or we used to have a little
call tracker is what you're trying to say. Yeah.
And where did you hear about us?
Yeah.
Yellow pages, white pages, referral from a friend, radio, whatever it is. So you split up 10% of your energy and dollars into different things. And then where we get the most response, that's where we focus our energy. And this is just an extrapolation of what we used to do in the old days. Was it a flyer on a window, right, Jeff? Whenever we'd get slow, we'd send the guys out and have them flyer the parking lot.
Yeah.
And some of that stuff we can digitally, do
distribute.
That to the groups that are local in the neighborhood and flyer the windshields effectively to those groups. And what they're
I can't even take an inbound call right now within the first 10 seconds asking that, because the whole phone call is ruined, because all I can think of is my mind is, where are they going to tell me they found us? So I just get out right away. Hey, I can answer your question. Tell me how you heard about us. So
Hey, how'd you hear about us?
I can't, yeah, because then I'll wonder the
Well,
whole call.
and
I won't
that's
pay
part of
attention.
I know you teach your staff
Oh,
the
you bet.
basics,
You bet.
of customer service. The customer is king, and we need to find out, where the people heard about us from.
Yeah.
We need to make sure that we have a well-trained staff that respects the customer. You're very, very strong in the basics of running a good business.
You bet.
And that's part of it,
Yeah.
talking to your customers and finding out where they're coming from, and then doubling down on that resource. Hey, everybody's coming from the Yellow Pages. Let's put a bigger ad in the Yellow Pages. Because
More time and effort spent there. You bet. Yeah.
Well, guess what? If we would have just kept doing that and didn't check back with the customers, we wouldn't have found out 5 years ago or 10 years ago they ain't looking in the Yellow Pages anymore. There's a thing called www, and they're going there. And you better stop paying so much for the Yellow Pages, because nobody goes there anymore.
No, you're totally right. I mean, make it less about your agenda and more about what the customers are doing. So it's critical.
Well, the Yellow Pages used to be the 900-pound gorilla. It was the most expensive, and we got the most bang for our buck. And the classified section in the newspaper was huge.
Yeah.
And back in the day, in '94, when we started Action Computers, we had a big presence in the classifieds, and so did our competitors.
Yeah.
But guess what happened?
Yep.
Craigslist.
People moved. Yeah, people moved away.
Came. So there was a digital Yellow Pages or classifieds, and less and less and less people started taking the newspaper.
You bet.
So we had to make a shift into that area. And so the multiple channels that we were using back then were very effective.
Yeah.
And now we've just got to do it digitally, and it has to do with groups. It has to do with micro media. It has to do with followers on TikTok, and I'm not a big account. I have 9,400 followers and 43,000 likes. But those people that are looking for that content, if I was selling something, which I'm not, I'm selling my free advice to people, because I'm giving back to the community at this point in my life, and I'm working through my kidney failure, and so I'm just doing this till I get going. But if I started another, business or work with you on something, having that, for 10,000 listeners, that may be all you need.
Yeah.
Because if you had 10,000 people on a TikTok platform and you were speaking to that audience about their computer needs and how they could save money or whatever, 10,000 computers, I don't know what your monthly computer sales are, but if you added 833 computers a month, that would up your numbers a little bit.
That'd be really good. Yeah. No, that'd be really good.
You don't have to think my media is valuable because I'm not viral. I'm not getting 200,000 views. Well, who cares?
Yeah.
If you're a porn star or whatever, and you want to get 20, a bunch of people into your OnlyFans or
about you,
TikTok influencer or whatever, maybe you need 300,000 likes.
Yeah.
But if I'm a used car dealer, I need, those 10,000 impressions a year, and I sell 833 cars a year as a percentage of that audience. That's a damn good business.
Yeah.
And
with your concept and with the tying in those things you just said, this is less about you And this is more about the channels that you're creating.
Absolutely.
So if it was the radio example, if you're the CEO of, iHeart, I mean, maybe you don't have a big following, but the channels that the things that you're doing, they may have a lot of people following them or listening to them, and that's more important, in your case.
Let's say that we have a lifestyle, and this is a great tie-in, Jeff. If we think about what we're doing as creating a radio channel like in the old days, but
Right.
it's online.
Right. Yeah.
So let's say that we have a luxury lifestyle channel.
Yeah.
We talk about yachting, we talk about going to the exotic places, we talk about travel and leisure and all that other stuff. And then we reach out to somebody like Steve Williams at Williams Jewelers.
Yeah.
We sell a lot of high-end jewelry and a lot of Rolexes and stuff like that. We create that channel of viewers that are interested in stuff like that. And we say,
that's
hey,
definitely a target.
We're having a sale on Rolexes.
Yeah.
And if we tried to make a show that said, hey, Williams Jewelers show and blah, blah, no one cares. But if it's a channel that you like to check in on, hey, who's buying a Ferrari? How much are the Ferraris? How much? And just because you're not going to buy the, $2 million Bugatti, they're advertising that. We call Ralph Champ, or we call Lisa Champ at Ralph Champ BMW and say, look, there's a lot of our viewers that like the high-end cars, that like the Rolls Royces and the Bentleys, but if they can't afford them, maybe they might be, BMW purchasers as they're reaching to buy the Rolls Royce or the Bentley or the Ferrari or the McLaren or whatever it is. We're not necessarily selling directly to them, but a little bit less creates, and you as well as I do the marketing adage of you have to have 10 to 15 impressions before somebody buys.
You bet. Oh yeah.
This is the way it is. They gotta hear about you 5 or 6 times, and then maybe they come in or whatever. But it's a lot of impressions. So if we can keep our impressions going in that role in media, then it's just not ad that you're buying, because it's too expensive for a small business to do that.
No, it is. To go out and find that, it is.
$500 a week on ads. You've got to find a different way for those people to keep seeing that. And one of the favorite things that I like to do, and I know you do as well, is get your business involved in some charities. And as your business is giving to the charities, in our case, we used to give away a computer a day for 25 years to needy kids. But that gets our message out. And hey, here's what we're doing. And if you'd like to support what we're doing, come on down to the store, check out what we're doing. We're supporting the police in our neighborhood and in our city, and we're supporting, these needy kids that, if they get a computer, then they're not learning how to sell drugs or whatever.
Right.
But it's always brand awareness. And, I guess with this program, what I'm describing is brand awareness that doesn't cost a lot of money.
For sure. And it's the reason why people, when you're watching football and you see a beer ad, that's they're taking something that they think those people like, and they're monetizing that. Same thing with why you don't see a beer commercial when you're watching The View, because they don't feel like those are beer customers. They might drink beer, but that's not really overwhelmingly who that audience is. So, if you have an audience,
there's been a lot of heavy duty mistakes, with people trying to get into those culture wars and leverage that, and then they get bit,
Sure.
And we don't take a side, right? In our businesses, Jeff?
Yep, right.
We don't care.
For sure. Definitely not.
And it's not that we don't have a personal opinion.
Right.
We have an interest to do business.
You bet.
And when that gets interfered with, then you have a problem.
Yep.
But I want to show you this, and then we can kind of move on. But before we wrap it up, see this plod note?
Yeah, that is the exact device that I have seen. Yeah.
I'm going to buy one of those and use it for the books that we write.
Okay.
Because I like the Chat GPT AI technology.
Yeah.
I use it quite a bit in making ads and rules for the groups that you and I are talking about. Like when I start one of those groups, I don't try to write any of it myself. I just go to my AI companion on the phone and say, hey, write a book of rules for a group that loves dogs.
Right.
You know? And
it
start a group
pops
that
it up.
says, we don't deserve dogs.
Yep.
And I just started that the other day. And I've got the Brooks Labs where Bella came from. And I have the Canine University that we work with that does the Buddy Up program.
Right.
For the service members with dogs.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to get some firepower content going and feed it back to those two entities.
Right.
That I'm helping just because I'm affiliated with them and their charities.
Yep.
But you see how that tie-in works?
For sure.
People start posting about their own dog. Who's that baby boy?
Oh,
How you doing, baby bird?
good.
Hey, come over here in front of the camera for a minute.
Yo.
How you doing, buddy?
Good.
I want to tell you, I love you and your brother so much, and I am so proud of you guys.
Mm-hmm.
You know that, right?
Mm-hmm.
For everybody in the audience, this is the famous Austin.
How dare you? I'm the older and handsomer one.
What's your name?
Grant.
Mm-hmm.
Grant is probably my oldest child from the computer store.
Oh yeah. Probably.
He was my candy drawer customer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 'cause of him.
That's right.
I love you, buddy. Have a good one.
Love you too.
Say
I
so.
better go.
I like that plod note. I am utilizing Copilot.
Tell me about that.
Same idea, except in Microsoft for Business, when you have a Microsoft 365 instance for a business, you can flip on Copilot, and it will automatically transcribe your team's calls. It'll arrange the notes for you.
Now tell me again what that is
Copilot.
and how much does that cost?
I don't know what it is for everybody, but I think ours is about $35 a month. And it's just something you add on to your Microsoft instance if you're a business, and it transcribes everything. You have AI capability within Windows, but then if you're doing Teams calls or anything like that, it will automatically summarize that meeting.
So that's like the companion for a computer as this thing is for a phone.
Sure. Yep.
And here's an interesting thing.
Yep.
I'm talking to you about this right now, and I'm going to the TikTok shop, and I'm buying the plod note off the TikTok shop.
Nice.
And I'm here to tell you they're offering free shipping And this TikTok marketplace is going to rival Amazon.
Yeah.
Because
Well, the reason I brought my thing up is that thing you're buying is going to do that same thing, but it's not just a transcription. You know, it's not just saying Jeff Mark, Jeff Mark, Jeff Mark. You know, it's actually taking the summary. It's listening to us talk. It's taking a summary and a transcription, and it'll throw it all into a well-organized document that, you know, everybody can have takeaways. I mean, it takes me, after meetings at work, I mean, it could take me an hour to write all of our summaries. That thing does it instantly and emails it to everybody.
all right. I just bought that Plod Note. The next time we do a show, I will introduce what I'm doing with that.
Perfect.
And you can compare and contrast against what you're doing with your what's it called?
Copilot.
It's amazing to me that what the technology is doing for eliminating jobs. I mean, can you imagine how much work we're doing and how much heavy lifting we're doing with the search and the chat GPT and the AI? I mean, you and I were early adopters a year or two ago. Now people are getting the feeling, and it just does the legwork. You know, like if you have an eBay store selling things, can you imagine the amount of money that we paid copywriters and listers? Hey, do a sales pitch,
Yeah,
for this Trinity, 512K, video card.
right.
That might take 2-3 hours for them to come up with a description. That the AI would do it in like 2 minutes.
Yeah, it's amazing. And
a copy paste.
I just did some hiring I just hired on a new marketing person at Trinware, and I interviewed probably 30 people. And boy, the minute I hit AI, I said AI. I mean, it took us down a 20-minute conversation, and they were all nervous to talk about it to me because I knew that it's getting in their way a little bit, or not in their way, but they're producing content with it, and not everybody likes that concept. They want them to home grow their own content. I'm like, it's fine.
Which is ridiculous.
I encourage
anybody that says that is just an idiot.
No,
because,
I encourage it.
Well, it's the Chat GPT is the Google of today. And, 20 years ago or 25 years ago, when look it up on Google was, not known.
Yeah. Right.
And anybody said, don't use Google or don't use YouTube to figure out how to fix a computer. I mean, when I was hiring a computer tech back in the day, and I'm sure you're still doing it today, the first thing I ask them is, what do you do? The first thing you tell them are a computer problem. Yeah. And if they don't say Google and YouTube, the issue, then, they're not a good technician, because that's where all the answers come from.
For sure.
And, a technician that's dealing with a problem from a university setting, in a book, how do you chase a virus down, or how do you combat the FBI virus? A professor at a university talked about viruses and how to combat that, and his textbook that the person had to buy, well, that's worthless. I mean, it's worthless knowledge. I mean, you can spend a year in that class, and when you get down to it, they've invented new viruses and way different things. And, it's not current.
Yeah.
But our people are working on problems that are happening today.
Right.
And what are the daily solutions for today? So the people that are successful are going to be the ones that utilize the technology and do more work.
Yeah.
You know, if we got 10 guys that are digging a hole for a pipe,
Right.
and that guy learns how to do the caterpillar digger,
Yeah.
and that does the work of 50 guys,
Right. Yeah.
you'd be dumb to.
It's a benefit. Yeah. I got the same story. I mean, we had a pretty complex thing we needed at work, fresh design of a graphic, and it was a complicated graphic. We're rolling out a new product, and we wanted a robot. You know, it was a really kind of flex, strong looking robot. And I mean, the time it would have taken our marketing person to make that from scratch, it would have taken him 20 hours. AI spit it out in 30 seconds, and it was great. And when the first one wasn't perfect, we typed in, "Hey, do this instead," and it did everything we needed. It was
It's
crazy.
amazing. It's absolutely amazing.
I'll end with a kind of a morbid start, but it becomes a good story. When my dad passed, I don't know what it was, 8 years ago now, and part of the time that I spent with him was kind of getting some things out of his head, and one of them was a spaghetti recipe that you never had a bowl of spaghetti like he made it, and I wrote down the recipe. But he was passing and wasn't in very good health, and I was kind of twisted too, not paying attention.
Right.
So I don't know if you can see it back there, but there's the crock pot that has his recipe in it today. But the ingredients weren't very good. Like they were, I didn't write down how much of some. So I went to GPT today. And I said, "Hey, I'm making this recipe with this amount of stuff that he said for sure, but I didn't know how much of these things to add." So I threw it in there, and it told me exactly what to put in.
Yeah, what's a common amount of basil? What's a common amount of
Exactly.
garlic? All that stuff.
And so it said to add sugar to kind of, if it gets too bitter, add some sugar to kind of loosen it up a little bit. Well, I went to the store, bought sugar. I bought the wrong sugar. And so I typed into GPT, "Hey, I bought this wrong sugar. How does that adjust how much I add?" And it said, "It's fine. Add this amount instead." And it actually told me or asked me if I was cooking any meat to put in this recipe. And I said, "Yeah, I'm going to make some sausage." I typed that in. I'm talking to this robot.
Yeah.
And it said, "After you're done cooking the sausage, you may want to keep the kind of the grease or the stuff at the bottom, because that has some flavoring in it. And if you haven't considered dumping that into your recipe, you should do that." It's like,
Amazing.
this is crazy. So it completed my recipe for me, filled in all the blanks. I mean, I had to have had probably 10 back and forths with GPT, and we'll see how the spaghetti turns out tonight, but so far so good. And it updated my recipe book. So
Dude, that's an awesome story.
kind of cool story. Yeah.
technology.
Random. But Google
Well-
couldn't have done that. Google would have never been able to help me with that. I'd have
Well,
to go to an article and read through, and then go to the forum, and half the people are yelling at each other, and then I finally find an answer. Who knows?
well, and it's teaching the younger generation how to use the tools that's going to make them effective.
Yeah,
Because have you seen the Chick-fil-A robot?
I have.
That's crazy. They're eliminating the jobs because of this pay issue.
Right.
So at McDonald's, they want you to put it in your phone because they're trying to get rid of all the people that take orders.
Yeah.
And it's happening. There's going to be a time when there's no people
Yeah.
working at the fast food place except for cooking and managing the kitchen operations. All of the order taking will be done by AI.
Yeah.
At the place, either on your phone or through the talk. And the people that are out delivering pizzas and food and stuff like that, that's going to be taken over by the robots.
Yeah.
And that makes sense because, you know, if they get in an accident or something, it's just some robot out there. Who cares? And once they start making it in mass, you know, then there's going to be no delivery jobs. There's going to be no Uber Eats or food delivery or anything by human being. You know, it's a very interesting time. And as we lose those jobs, we want our kids to learn these other tools. So when an employer says, "Hey, Grant, why don't you write me an instruction manual for our Italian restaurant?"
Yeah.
For the hostess.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. No problem is what he's going to say, and I'll figure out how to do it. Yep.
Well, and he'll be able to do it in 5 minutes.
Right. Well, as I told my applicants, it's, you know, probably 95% being able to get to that point, but the last 5% is important too, which is how you interpret those results, because they're not always right. You know, I mean, you know, today that thing could have told me, "Hey, do these things, add the whole bag of sugar to my recipe," and I would have been, that seems weird.
Right,
so,
right.
You know, especially in the business world, you have to be able to dissect, you know, what things are, you know, worthwhile or what things cater to my audience. And, you know, I think that's what we're going to have to teach that younger generation is, you know, you can't just have the robot spit things out, you know, interpret them too. And I actually had applicants for that marketing position that wrote me up a crazy cover letter that hit every note that I wanted to hear. And when I called them out on it, you know, they had no idea what it meant. You know, we have an acronym in our business called MQL, and MQL is a marketing qualified lead. And so people were talking about, "Oh, you know, I got all these MQLs." So I asked them, I said, "Hey, talk to me about your MQLs." "My MQ what?" "Your MQLs. You wrote that you had, you know, this huge success with MQLs. Tell me about that campaign." "No idea. Sorry, I don't know. I don't remember writing that. Sorry."
Wow.
So glad your robot was helping you, but you got to know what that stuff means. I may forget to put that on a resume or whatever, you know, and I get that, but you know, so use GPT to remember, "Oh, I know what that means," but you know, you got to be able to explain that when you are trying to say, "Hey, that's something I know." It's crazy.
Well, this isn't going directly to my chat GPT, and I don't know why. Jeff just upgraded my computer to a new Trendware Studio Monster computer, which I love. And I'm just going through a little bit of a learning curve.
Growing pains.
Well,
little growing pains.
I used to just be able to log into my chat GPT, but it's not giving me anything. Because what I wanted to do is I wanted to do an online AI lesson, but it's not working.
Well, we should save that for the next show.
We should.
I think we can talk
We've
AI
gone well over an hour, but great show, Jeff.
Yeah,
and I want you to start working on this program with me, and let's see if we can sell some computers for Trinware as we learn this other thing, and you know, just give these people some real results for a real company.
Sounds good to me. I like it.
I love you.
Hey, I love you. Take care.
It was nice to spend the Sunday with you. Have a good one.
You too. You too.